Hey everyone, just want to take a little bit and talk about what your options are for the final 3 weeks of this class. I looked at the survey results and it definitely was a mix. Some folks wanted to do a project, others just wanted to do an additional unit. So what I decided is to just give you folks the option, so on an individual basis you can choose whether or not you want to do a project or you want to learn a new topic and kind of finish up what we're doing. So I am going to post many more details about the projects, but I just want to do a quick overview of what your options are so you can pick an option. I would like by the end of the day on Monday for you to have picked an option for what you want to do for your final project. And there'll be a Google form where you can submit what you're going to do. So your first option here is to do an additional unit. The unit you would do would be a unit on circuits, which is a topic that we normally would have covered this year, but we didn't with everything going on. But it is a topic that is talked about in Physics 2 AP, and so for those of you taking it, this certainly wouldn't be a bad idea and help give you a little bit of a foundation going into that class for next year. It basically would be like an expanded version of what we did for the simple harmonic motion unit. That really was the only unit we did while we were out for on virtual learning here, but essentially you would have probably 2 labs virtually. There'd be 2 homework assignments, no mastering physics, just paper, submit your work type homework assignments. There'd be notes videos throughout going through the PowerPoint, and there would be a packet that goes along with it. It will be slightly modified from the circuits unit that's already in the book you got at the beginning of this semester. And then there would be a test, not a cumulative test. It would be a test only on circuits, okay, so just on the stuff you're learning during this unit. Overall, it would end up being worth about 1/3 of your 4th marking period grade when it's all said and done. I am going to put it in as your quarterly, all right, for this marking period, but that's just so that things don't get skewed. Otherwise, this is kind of a weird marking period for the AP class where you have all those progress checks, you have the practice tests, etc. But ultimately, it would be worth a little bit over 1/3 of your final marking period grade, which would be the same as the other options. One thing I do want to be clear about with this is you're not going to see like the AP style problems that you typically would see. So it won't be any of those on the homework. It won't be any of those on the test. It's going to be all like non-AP calculation type problems. So that's what the first option is going to be here. Here's just a quick overview of what that calendar would look like, and I will post this on Schoology, of course, so you can take a closer look at it. But you see you have a lab due here, a lab and one of the homeworks due here, another homework due here, and then the review, which will be optional. We'll talk about that due on that final testing day of June 4th. All right, your second option here would be a Rube Goldberg machine. This is what we would normally do if we were still in school. You'd spend the final 3 weeks building these. You're going to do it on a smaller scale in your house. I have a quick little animation of what a Rube Goldberg machine would look like, and of course there will be some more stuff posted on Schoology that will give you a slightly better idea of everything that's required to actually complete that machine. But basically, you'd be building this machine in your house. You can either work individually or you can work with a group, and you can work with anyone in any of my classes, AP or honors. You don't have to stick with people in your class or even only people in AP or only people in honors. Anyone that has me you can work with, and you actually can work with as big of a group as you would like. However, each person in the group will be responsible for building a machine, either part of the bigger machine or their own machine, that has 5 steps and runs for 15 seconds. Okay, each person will be responsible for explaining 3 concepts within their machine, and each person will be responsible for writing 2 problems. So even though you'll be working with other people, you certainly can bounce ideas off of other people and talk with each other. The grade will be individual for each person and based off of the work that each person does. Here we have our schedule for the Rube Goldberg machine. Basically, it's working on the project a little bit each day. I do have a few check-ins. So for example, by Thursday of the first week, I'd like you to have at least 2 steps completed, and you'll submit your progress to Schoology just to help keep you on track. By Wednesday of the second week, I'd like you to have 4 steps completed. Same thing, you'll submit to Schoology. And then the final project will be due on the 2nd. The video of your machine is due, and on the 3rd, your concepts and problems are due, uploaded to Schoology. Okay, for your final option here, what you have is still a project, but this one might be more geared towards people who aren't really into building a machine. So if that doesn't sound like you, but you still want to do a project, you have this option as well. So for this project, you need to create something, and you have lots of choice in what you create. It could be a song, could be a drawing, could be a skit, could be a video, whatever you would like, that shows or explains 5 concepts that you've learned this year. You can work by yourself, or you can work with one other person on this. Again, it can be someone from any of my classes. It doesn't have to be limited to only AP or only honors. Anyone that has me for physics, you can work with on this project. What you're going to do is create this, piece, this object, through any medium you would like that demonstrates 5 things you've learned this year. Could be all from the same unit, could be a hodgepodge of stuff. It could be all related to a certain activity, so the physics of, insert, whatever you're interested in, but you need to create something that shows 5 things you learned this year. The idea is for it to be creative, but also to inform people about physics. You certainly can probably do this without using any outside sources, but if you do use some outside sources and do a little bit of research, that's fine, but you do have to make sure you properly cite all of your information. That is extremely important. I know that you folks probably already know that, but I do feel the need to emphasize that once again. There will be more information about this project along with all of them on the Schoology page. Again, the purpose of this was just to give you a quick overview of what some of your options are. And here we have the plan for this. Just like the Rube Goldberg, there are some intermediate dates where you give me an overview, give me a rough or partial draft so I can give you some feedback, and then the project is ultimately due on June 3rd here. But basically you're working on the project the entire time for the next 3 weeks.